Where there's a will, there's a way. If you wanted to, you would find a way to do it. I'm serious. A friend and I were having a conversation recently, and the topic of getting things done got brought up. And I told him, where there's a will, there's a way. And he thought that was crazy to say. He even asked me, well, what about someone who's depressed? Would you just say to be happy to them? And no, that's not the way that I would approach it. But I still believe the concept applies. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want something, you'll stop at nothing to get it. You'll do the work, you'll be disciplined, you'll be consistent. Do you want to lose weight? Where there's a will, there's a way. Do you want to make 6 figures a year? Where there's a will, there's a way. Do you want to attract the love of your life? Where there's a will, there's a way. I know it sounds harsh, but it's true. Anyway, let me introduce myself. My name is Allie, and here we talk about self development and manifestation. If you want to work with me, my links are in the description below. Anyway, I'm going to be dividing this video into 4 parts. Part 1 is going to be my personal story. So, why am I qualified to talk about this topic? I've gone through many hardships before, accomplished many things, and I know persistence works. I know consistency works. Let me share my story. I grew up in Michigan, but I knew I didn't necessarily want to stay there for the rest of my life. I had the opportunity to visit friends in California, so I took it. And while I was in California, I really loved it. I didn't want to leave. It was a week trip. I had a flight back to Michigan. I had every intention to go back to school, to continue my life in Michigan. But then I woke up late and I missed my plane. And if you know me, I'm a very punctual person. I'm usually never late to things. It actually irks me a bit when people are late because I feel it's disrespectful. Anyway, back to the story. I woke up late and I actually woke up and laughed when I saw the time. It was 6:01 a.m., a minute after my plane was supposed to depart. I don't know why I had that reaction, but for some reason I found it funny. I called customer service and tried to figure it out to see if there was a way to get a refund or credit for another ticket, but they said no. I felt something in me that told me I was meant to be here. I was meant to stay in California. Do you guys ever get those nudges, or is it just me? Anyway, I ended up staying. Was it easy to uproot my life from Michigan and move to California? No. There were many things I had to take care of. I was 21 at the time. I dropped out of school, had to find someone to sublease the apartment I was renting back in Michigan, had to figure out a way to live in a brand new state. And this brings me back to my original point. Where there's a will, there's a way. I know my example is extreme, but hopefully it gives you the confidence to do the things that you want to do too. Because if I can move across the country on a whim, when I didn't even intend to, you can do the things that you want to. Because if I had to guess, the things you want aren't as crazy as what I did. You can accomplish things, you can do it. It's simply a decision you have to make and follow through on. So now we move on to part 2. Be specific with what you want. Most people have a general idea of what they want. Maybe it's more money, a relationship, a career that they love, but they never take the time to clearly define it. And without clarity, you can't create a roadmap. You're just hoping to end up somewhere good without knowing where you're actually going. So, to help you get specific, here are some questions to reflect on. Grab a journal or just pause and really think about your answers. What do you truly desire? Not what you think you should want, what you genuinely want in your heart. Why haven't you taken action on this desire? Is it fear, doubt, the belief that it's not possible for someone like you? What do you think about constantly? That thing that keeps circling in your mind. That's not random, it's a sign. What excites you, but also scares you a little? The things that stretch you often lead you to the biggest growth. Is there anything you regret not starting? If something immediately comes to mind, it's probably still calling to you. What are you passionate about? What makes you feel alive when you talk about it or do it? The goal here isn't to just think, it's to clarify, because once you're specific, your brain starts looking for ways to make it real. For part 3, we're going to bridge the gap and make your desire possible. This is the part where most people give up because they see a gap between where they are and where they want to be. But that gap is a bridge you get to build, one choice at a time. Instead of seeing obstacles as a proof that something isn't meant for you, reframe that. Every time you catch yourself saying, I can't, replace it with, well, what is it going to take for me to be able to? You don't need all the resources now, you just need to be resourceful. And that means thinking creatively, asking questions, trying different angles, and using what you do have. For me, I just used what I had to start this YouTube channel. I don't have a fancy camera, but I do have an iPhone, so I film on that. And this mic was inexpensive to buy. You can also start small. Do you want to launch a YouTube channel? Post your first 30-second short. Do you want to get in shape? Go for a 10-minute walk. Progress becomes inevitable when you take consistent, doable steps, and when your desire is strong enough, you're gonna find a way. Part 4 is about how discipline is a form of self-love. Discipline isn't punishment, it's love. It's choosing to show up today, not because it's easy, but because you care about the future version of you, who's counting on this moment. They're watching every decision you make, and every time you choose to stay consistent, you're saying, I haven't forgotten you, I believe in who we're becoming. When you commit to your goals, you're not just chasing an outcome, you're reinforcing an identity. You're telling your brain, this is who I am now. I'm someone who follows through. I'm someone who values myself enough to stay consistent. It doesn't have to look perfect. Some days you're gonna crush it. Some days you'll barely make it through. But even your smallest effort is a step towards the version of you that you're stepping into. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to keep going. And when you keep going, especially on the days where you don't feel like it, that's when shifts happen. That's when your self-concept changes, and that's when discipline becomes momentum. So the choice is yours to take. Do you want to stay where you are? Or do you want things to change? The truth is, you can do it. You just have to stop waiting, stop making excuses, and start deciding that enough is enough, and actually do something about it. That's all for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, bye friends.